like to welcome you to my presentation on single-use plastic and its many pollutions. My name is Yvette Borges, and though I will be presenting this speech, I unfortunately cannot use the screen before me, so I've sent you all the PowerPoint to follow along with me, so thank you for being on your phones, and that's the explanation for that. I will begin. Do you know that feeling of total panic that overcomes you when you're swimming in the beach, and a piece of seaweed brushes your leg? When you look down, you realize it actually isn't seaweed, but it's actually a piece of plastic, one of the myriad that infiltrates the ocean. As each wave hits you, lids, straws, bags, this may just be a nightmare, but we are not too far from not being able to escape the tsunami of plastic waste. Nearly 26 million tons of plastic finds its way into the oceans, according to the Greenpeace reports. We may not live in the ocean exactly, but the damage caused by single-use plastic and its pollution does not just affect ocean life. Plastic pollution can have serious effects on human health and global warming. Single-use plastics are overwhelmingly harmful to the environment and to human beings, which is why their use should be limited, if not banned. There are multiple reasons that single-use plastics are a concern, but first we need to identify and define a single-use plastic. Single-use plastics are defined by the United Nations as disposable plastic pieces. These plastics are typically used for plastic packaging and include grocery bags or water bottles. However, it's not just limited to these items. Plastics can be found in many daily necessities, such as clothing or in-home appliances and electronics. Plastics are almost inescapable in our modern-day society. Now, as for how do they pollute? There are a myriad of reasons that single-use plastics act as a major pollutant. For one, people's negligence acts as a major reason for why single-use plastics find themselves being a huge percentage of landfills. Pollution of single-use plastics is mainly due to people just being careless with their waste. An example would be a group of people hanging out on the beach and leaving behind all of their trash, not just soda cans or napkins, but their plastic cutlery, straws, forks, plates. All of this waste ends up in the ocean. This pollution affects the environment greatly, and specifically the wildlife. Wildlife is affected directly through biodiversity loss and food chain contamination. Since these plastics are finding their way into our ecosystems, they are becoming detrimental to the habitats of certain fish and coral. The loss of habitats leads to the unfortunate extinction of entire species. Food chain contamination occurs when, for example, an animal consumes a plastic piece that is filled with chemicals, and said animal is later consumed by its predator, the food chain, of course. Those chemicals continue to follow the food chain and end up as a main ingredient in our foods. Global warming and climate change are also unfortunate effects of this epidemic of single-use plastic. Pollution from these plastics cause greenhouse gases to break down the ozone layer and accelerate natural disasters, while slowly but surely affecting climate change and accelerating the planet's rising temperatures. For example, California and all of their recent wildfires. Plastic pollution does not just affect the environment, but it is entirely detrimental to human life. First and foremost, it affects our health through the release of toxic chemicals and gases. For example, a styrofoam cup contains benzene and styrene, which can cause health complications in the kidneys and liver. These toxic chemicals also make their way into our bodies due to food chain contamination, as mentioned prior. These plastics carry diseases. Pieces of plastics later become breeding grounds for malaria and can transmit vector-borne diseases. The financial burden also affects human beings because it is brought by epidemic forces, and future costs increase to build up higher costs for the future to get rid of pollution. Recycling becomes extremely more expensive. Styrofoam cannot be easily recycled and requires more energy and labor. In conclusion, single-use plastics are used too frequently in daily life and are not properly disposed of, leading to harmful effects for the environment and human beings. Single-use plastics should be banned due to their devastating effects to the environment. If single-use plastics are not handled soon, the earth will face the repercussions. Animals will go extinct, humans will face disease and economic burdens. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.
Yay. Beautiful. I hope it kept going.